Tonight on CTV, we have student reactions from Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump Jr.'s visit to CSU.
And supporters and protesters of the visit meet outside of the UCA.
And find out what steps CSU is taking to stop email scams targeting students. All this and more on CTV News, Channel 11.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Lauren Orcutt.
And I'm Bella Roberts. CSU's Turning Point USA chapter hosted the Culture War Tour featuring Charlie Kirk and guests on Tuesday evening. Here is what the conservative group had to say from inside the venue.
Get an estimate on crowd size.
I think it's very empowering to be in a room with people that are so like-minded. He's wearing a MAGA hat, totally acceptable, celebrated. And I wanted to come tonight because I've seen Trump at his rally, and I wanted to see Trump Jr. and Charlie Kirk.
Our chapter is honored this year to host the 2019 Culture War Tour featuring Charlie Kirk, tonight with special guests Kimberly Guilfoyle and Donald Trump Jr.
Charlie Kirk began the Culture War Tour by criticizing CSU and President Joyce McConnell for the small room given to the event and for an email sent earlier this year.
However, when certain people that are in positions of leadership go out of their way to misrepresent Turning Point USA and misrepresent myself, I have to respond. And the president of this university dared send out an email to the entire student body that talked about despicable acts that happen on this campus that we repudiate and that we reject, that have nothing to do with us. And with no pretext and no precondition, then in the next paragraph over says, I've also learned that Charlie Kirk is coming to campus.
During the event, the panel talked about how liberal college campuses impact students with more conservative views.
Events like this are key to at least bringing new ideas to people. I don't hear the stuff that's being said in here in my classroom.
One of the presenters was outside the UCA where he was interviewing both protesters and counter-protesters, often commenting on things like what they were wearing.
So I'm going to ask a question. Where has communism worked? You're wearing a Soviet flag, a Soviet guard.
Donald Trump Jr. and Charlie Kirk poked fun at the transgender community when discussing children who are raised gender neutral.
I don't think it's that unreasonable to ask a straight man to not date someone maybe with a beard, maybe with some man parts.
Isabella Roberts reporting with CTV 11. While there was a lot going on inside, there was also a lot going on outside. Lauren was there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, tensions were definitely high outside, and you can tell that everyone who came had really strong opinions. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure it was just as intense inside as well.
It was, yeah.
While the event was going on inside of the UCA, outside there was another event. Protesters supporting the Culture War Tour and counter-protesters who said that they didn't want this tour coming to CSU.
It was a street divided. On one side, people who wanted to hear from a conservative on campus.
It's really great that CSU put this on.
And another group, using their voices to say, not this group, not this campus. As the event inside reached capacity, Culture War Tour supporters spilled outside, using their voices too.
I'm here because I love America and I love our country.
For police, it was just a matter of keeping both groups apart and keeping the streets clear and accessible.
Just to be wary of everyone's safety, and that's why we're out here on the front lines trying to keep folks safe.
In the end, two opposing groups, each passionate about their beliefs, and a street divided, representing the larger picture, a country divided as well.
Police reported few problems. For the most part, everyone kept to their side of the street. I'm sure they expect more of these type of confrontations as the political divide continues to grow.
President Joyce McConnell announced the administration is asking for proposals to the Race, Bias, and Equity Initiative that she announced last month at her fall address. Some of the proposals that are already in place are a series of online modules to address the issue of racism and bias in the classroom. In addition, there are diversity trainings for students and change to the president's executive leadership team. The administration is asking for students, staff, and faculty to submit their proposals. If you would like to submit a proposal, they will be accepted until November 4th at 5 in the afternoon. For more information on the CSU Race, Bias, and Equity Initiative, you can visit president.colostate.edu.
You may have noticed a suspicious email or two this past semester, and that is because email scams have plagued students' email boxes more this past year. In order to help stop those scams, the Academic Computing and Network Services launched a threat protection service for Microsoft Word this Monday. However, according to the Collegian, this won't affect students who are using their Gmail. Since these email scams are getting more sophisticated, ACNS urges students to have caution when faculty and other students receive emails.
Associated students of CSU met last night in order to discuss pay and filling a new position in the Amundsen administration.
The big takeaways from the AS-CSU meeting last night is that they are adding an executive director in the Senate. The pay for this position was being voted on last night. The Senate had major concerns on this pay raise and questioned why is it a higher paying job than the other branches.
More hours are added. Person is doing more work, is expected to do more work, pay is increased.
Senator Fields was saying that this specific position, the person that took this position was aware of the specific hours that they were going to have to work.
As far as the hours, it's not necessarily that hours were added, it's that was in the original job description, so therefore one job was working more hours with the same amount of pay as everyone else.
But towards the end of the night, the decision was made to pass the bill. I met up with Melissa Casana to ask what exactly is this position and why is it so important to the CSU students.
So our Director of Community Affairs and Deputy Director of Governmental Affairs work closely. They kind of serve as our connection between ASCSU, the student body, and the community, both on a local policy level and on a governmental statewide policy level. So both of those positions are important. They work on things like passing legislation through the state of Colorado that affect higher education, working on things like housing affordability in the city of Fort Collins, so things like B+2, working on food and security policies. All of those things are things that they work on, so if you're ever curious about anything that we're working on policy related, if you have any question, they draft policy updates, they draft resumes for city councils, and definitely work on all of those things with our city council. They attend city council meetings on a weekly basis. We work with the relationships between our governance in Fort Collins and CSU overall.
Allison Tackett, CTV, Channel 11.
If you are curious about what exactly ASCSU does, you can find more information at ascsu.colostate.edu.
A Lyft driver was fired after a possible hit and run that took place in Fort Collins. According to the Coloradoan, the potential hit and run took place on I-25 and Harmony on October 16th at around 10:30 in the morning. Fort Collins police do know about the crash and are asking if anyone has any information to call 970-221-6540.
Two suspects were caught spray painting multiple cars in Campus West. According to CBS 4 News, the vandals broke into one car and spray painted others. The string of vandals took place in the area from Cypress Drive to Ponderosa and between Lake and Elizabeth Streets.
A woman filed a lawsuit against a Fort Collins police officer and the city for alleged excessive use of force. According to the Coloradoan, the woman was arrested by an off-duty police officer. The lawsuit was filed on October 4th in district court. An internal review was actually done by the Fort Collins Police Department, and they did find that the officer did violate policies during the arrest.
The Colorado Department of Transportation is planning another full closure of I-25 next Wednesday night. Crews will be closing the interstate over Prospect Road in order to pour the concrete deck over the new bridge that is being built. Drivers on I-25 will be able to use the on and off ramps to get back on the interstate. Drivers using Prospect Road will also have to follow a detour. For more information, you can visit cotrip.com.
President Trump made a comment that he would be building a border wall in Colorado. The comment came after he was speaking at an event in Pittsburgh where he said that the progress was starting on the wall border in Texas. He tweeted last night that he was just kidding about actually building a wall in Colorado, but rather he said that Colorado would get benefits from the wall. The comment drew a lot of attention, and Governor Jared Polis also weighed in by saying, quote, "Well, this is awkward. Colorado doesn't border Mexico." You know, Bella, I did hear about this on Twitter. Did you, and you, Krista, did you hear about it on Twitter or in the news earlier this morning?
Yeah, I actually read the Denver Post earlier this morning and found that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally have not heard about this until fairly recently, and so it's just interesting to see how this will develop, I think, definitely. But speaking of walls, have you two seen the walls that have murals painted on them just all over Fort Collins?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely such an interesting thing, and I was going around Fort Collins this week and learning about all of the things that this group does. In addition to painting these murals on the walls, they also go around and paint the pianos that you'll see around Old Town, as well as the electrical boxes.
That's super cool.
The Art in Public Places initiative, organized by the City of Fort Collins, is the mastermind behind the painted electrical cabinets and pianos in Fort Collins.
The Art in Public Places program is a tiered program. So there's our 1% tier. We receive 1% of all construction projects over $250,000.
These funds go towards creating art around town that serve many purposes.
I think that art really adds a sense of identity to the community. It's not only a landmark where people can say, meet me by this art, but it's also a good way to start conversations and a way to deter graffiti around town.
The Transformer Cabinet Project is responsible for those painted boxes. Although the original intent of this project was to deter graffiti artists from tagging the cabinets, it has contributed to the community as well.
As far as, bringing joy and happiness to alleys and what would be like a boring gray electrical cabinet, decorating those, making those a little more attractive and spreading color and joy through the city.
Overall, these projects add great value to the lives of those who notice them.
Art inspires art, of course, so it just adds to the magic. I mean, it is magic. This whole area right here, they need more pianos. Without these pianos, I'd be hopeless.
This project is really great. There's so many times I walk through town and I see friends gathered around pianos, even people gathered around strangers listening to music. Everyone's always smiling. This is something that just brings so much joy to people, whether they realize it or not.
So now that I am a little bit more aware of the background behind these projects, I can't help but see especially the electrical boxes just all over town.
Yeah.
Have you seen them?
Yeah, I actually have one right outside of my house, and I've always wondered who paints them, if they're students or what. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen the electrical boxes yet, but I actually was downtown the other day and I saw someone painting a piano, and so that was pretty cool to witness that.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of neat to see how those things actually get there, that you just kind of pass by, see them, don't think much about it. But now we know.
Right. I'm glad you got to explore that.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing experience. All right, Rams, well, don't go anywhere because I will be right back to talk to you about all of the spicy entertainment events we have coming up. So stick around.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Welcome back, Rams. The entertainment spice is back, so let's get into it. We all hate awkward pauses. But you know what's worse? Slow internet and buffering videos. However, the city of Fort Collins might have a solution. Fort Collins Connection is providing a fiber-based network that could provide the city with a 1 gigabyte internet speed. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it's fast. Download and upload speeds will now be faster, meaning your Netflix nights will no longer be interrupted. I know that I'm in that point of the year where I could use a vacation, but I don't have enough time to actually go anywhere. Luckily, the Fort Collins Museum of Discovery is offering up a mental escape. The Digital Dome Theater in the museum is showing Mesmerica 360, a visual and musical journey into which you can relax into imaginary landscapes that will give you a breath of fresh air. You can engage your senses through this visual experience from 5:30 to 6:30 in the evening on this upcoming Saturday. Blink and you'll miss this next event. Ensight is hosting their annual Eyeball fundraiser in only 2 days on Saturday. You can dress up in your best costume for the Halloween-themed dance and participate in the costume contest for potential prizes. Boogie Monster the night away from 6:30 to 11:30 at night and enjoy the dance while knowing that the proceeds help to support those with poor vision throughout Colorado. I would try not to miss this cool fundraiser. If there's anything that can make yoga more enjoyable, the best answer is puppies. Max Line Brewing is hosting puppy yoga this Sunday from 10 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. Do the downward dog next to the puppy experts themselves and stretch out while petting these pups throughout the day. The dogs are donated for the event from the Bounce Animal Rescue Center, and they are up for adoption just in case you meet your puppy soulmate during the class. This is probably the cutest event a Fort Collins business will be hosting, so I 10 out of 10 recommend checking out these puppies. The artery will no longer be clogged with people trying to get in to listen to the music because this cafe and music venue is closing one of their doors. The downstairs part of the artery that held this music venue and cafe will be closing on November 1st, but the artist galleries on the upper level will remain open. You can join the artery on Saturday at 8 in the evening and dance the night away until 1:30 in the morning. And don't miss a beat if you're heading on downtown to celebrate the legacy of the music venue. Well, all right, Rams, that's all of the spice and entertainment tonight. But stick around after the break to hear James Hall talk about the forecast and to tell you whether or not you'll be needing a jacket for the upcoming week.
Queen is just my everything. Right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be without her.
They say chivalry's dead. It's not. Terrence is a gentleman. He opens doors. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. It takes me to a place of no hope. It takes me to a place of loneliness. It saddens me. When you discriminate against somebody in housing, where do these people go? Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm James Hall, and I'm here to tell you what the weather's going to be like this weekend. But first, let's start with how it is on campus right now. As we can see, it is clear. There aren't very many clouds, but it is 39 degrees. A little chilly out there. Might want a sweater, maybe a jacket. There's some slight wind at 7 miles per hour, south-southwest. Sun's already set. Just be prepared for the cold weather coming, but that's not how it was out on campus today. As we can see, fall is kind of trying to hang around. We got some yellow leaves, some that are a little bit more of a robust red. and some that, just seem to kind of be dwindling away, so winter kind of had its moment. But it's still not fully here yet. As we can see, there is one tree living its best life, a lot like we're trying to do. But like we're trying to live our best life, sometimes things are brewing over the mountains that we're not prepared for. So speaking of which, for the lows tonight, we have 37 in Fort Collins, 35 in Colorado Springs, 29 in Pueblo. If we go all the way to Grand Junction, it's going to be 34, a chilly 13 at Gunnison. And on the eastern side of the state, pretty much just around mid-30s to high 20s. Now, if we're going to look at tomorrow's highs, it's going to be sunny with a 64-degree high and 43-degree low, 6 miles per hour, south-southwest for the wind, and a sunset at about 6:06. Yes, it is starting to get darker much sooner than we are used to. But let's talk about what is coming up for the 5-day. Maybe. Possibly. No? All right. So basically, with the 5-day coming up tomorrow, as we can see, is going to be absolutely gorgeous for this time of year. 64, maybe a light sweater, nothing too big. As for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, even though the graphic's not up here, well, we're looking at snow. Sunday, we're looking at about 50% through the entire day. Monday's only in the afternoons. That's at about 40%. And, excuse me. And then on Tuesday, it's also going to be about 40% chance of snow. For the game day, well, the game day is actually away. It's in Fresno. And as we can see already, it's going to be much warmer at tailgate than it will be here on Sunday. 80 degrees by the time they open, 84. Game starts at 85. And then by the time it ends, it's going to be about 69 degrees. So a little bit more chilly, but not too bad. Here to join me to talk about how this might affect the football game coming in on Saturday is Corey Odom. Pleasure to have you,
James. Yeah. So it looks like it's going to be about 60 degrees warmer in California. Do you think that'll sap the energy of the players having such a crazy temperature difference?
It might, but it might also heat them up.
Really?
I'm thinking so. Tell you what, how about once you come up, you can tell us which players are already hot for Fresno.
All right, sounds good. So stick around until the break.
Stay tuned for more.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Dora knows better than anyone. The best place to explore is the forest.
Boots! She knows this monkey? Of course, she knows this monkey.
Experience nature.
Let's go.
Connect with family.
I love you guys.
And find your own adventure in a forest or park near you.
Let's do this. Come on, Boots.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Corey's Countdown. That's right, it is 3 top stories in CSU sports, 2 top players to look out for on Fresno State's football team, and the coveted 1 minute of mayhem. 3 top stories. The CSU women's volleyball team continues to impress, having achieved the national ranking of 14 off the back of a 17-match win streak. That streak is more than the bottom 3 teams in the Mountain West have combined. The Rams will have to stay red hot tonight against one of those bottom 3 teams, San Jose State. San Jose State is coming off of a home victory versus the New Mexico Lobos, where senior setter Caitlin Zdroink had a monster performance. A season-high 46 assists isn't even the most impressive thing about Zdroink's game. She had a whopping 7 kills on the game. That's more than the rest of the season combined. After a career-defining showing from Zdroink, it'll be tough for her to recreate those numbers against CSU's defense. CSU is allowing opponents just to hit .099. That is the second best hitting percentage in the nation. Do you know what the number 1 hitting percent in the nation is? .098. They're also number 2 in the nation in blocks per set at 3.04. All this versus the San Jose State team that only hits 184. The Rams may just be the nation leaders after tonight. The game's actually happening right this second with a score of 16-23 in the first set. So if you've been following CSU volleyball at all, you'll know that the first set is the rockiest for the Ram team, and they do get much better after that. So we'll have to see if they can close this one off and continue to do well. Yesterday, though, our very own Jessica Mendoza interviewed the men's basketball team to see how they're doing with the upcoming season. Reminder, season starts on November 1st.
So we know this year's team is a young team, but how do you feel about the depth so far of the roster?
I feel like we got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things, young and veterans. So I think it'll balance itself out. We got a lot of guys that can play on the floor at the same time, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, I think we're more deeper for sure at every spot. People can come in and play and do the same roles, and I think that's going to help us a lot. As season gets longer, and miles start to pile up, so I think that's definitely going to help us out a lot.
I'm real confident in this team. I'm really excited too. Just it's my first year being on a Division I team, and I'm just excited for the group and what we can do. We've been working hard ever since the summer, so I'm just excited to get out on the court.
If you want to see the rest of that interview, you can head over to our YouTube page at CTV 11. Now, after a below-average 7-11 record in the conference last year and a disappointing 12-20 overall record, we'll have to see if Coach Niko Medved can get 9 new players to learn the playbook and have a successful second season for him. With the season starting soon, make sure to check back in often because we will have all the basketball coverage you could ever need during the season. Now, the historic and record-breaking women's soccer team actually lost last Sunday to what Maddie Warren called the Boise State Ramey Shirls. So they'll have to shake that off if they want to head over to Nevada for their game on Saturday versus the Wolfpack. A Wolfpack team that has scored just 8 total goals all season, and they sport a 3-12 season record. A huge part of that is that the leading scorer, Gabby Brown, has just 3 goals on 65 shots. That's a goal percentage of just under 5%. Her shots aren't even being blocked most of the time because she shoots on goal at 32%. That is a full 14% lower than CSU's leading scorer, Kaylee Lordman. After the game, the Rams will have to stay in Nevada and roll the dice versus the Las Vegas Rebels on Sunday. Tune into the Monday Night Sports Show to get the full rundown. Now, 2 top players. CSU football is back after a much-needed bye week to face the Fresno State Bulldogs. They'll have to do that without star running back Marvin Kinsey Jr., who just been suspended indefinitely. Bobo did not have a comment as to why, but we will keep you updated as more information becomes available. With Kinsey out, the Bulldogs will likely be able to drop more men into coverage and trust the linebackers to make plays for the run. And with a linebacker like number 29, Justice Rice, on the team, they should be pretty comfortable with that. Now, Rice leads the team in just about every defensive category. He has a team-high 60 total tackles, 2 interceptions, 7 passes broken up, 2 fumbles recovered, 4 fumbles forced. That's right, he leads in every one of those categories. He's also just 2 sacks and 2 tackles for losses behind the leaders in those categories. So, expect the Rams to have a specific way to key off what Rice is doing. If not, he might just lead the team in every single category after the game. Now, Rice is a scary defensive leader, but who leads the Bulldogs offense? Even though they're a pretty balanced team, averaging about 160 yards on the ground and 240 yards in the air, they just don't have a star running back. They actually have a bunch of running backs kind of working in rotation, but they only have one person with meaningful pass attempts, and that would be the quarterback, number 11, Jorge Reyna. Now, Reyna is a pass-first quarterback. He averages about 33 attempts a game. He will run, though. It's not his specialty, but he will do it. He has 12 touchdowns on the year, 10 in the air, 2 on the ground. He only has 4 interceptions as well on the year, which means that he's careful with the ball. He also isn't afraid to make quick reads and get the ball out of his hands quickly. But if that first option is covered, expect him to hold on to the ball a bit longer, which could lead to some sacks for the Rams. Now, if the Rams want to get their first win streak of the year, they'll have to be more like the volleyball team because they're going to want both these players to be who they're focusing on. Now it's the 1 minute mayhem. That's right, I've got the 11 questions all to myself. Now, never seen them before, and I will have 1 minute to answer them all, so let's do it. Can the Astros make a comeback? I think so. I think they're a better team. I just think that the Nationals have been playing above their pay grade quite a bit. Who won the Emmanuel Sanders trade? That's tough because he's about 31 years old. He's coming off an ACL injury, and they got a second and a third round, so I'm going to go with the Broncos. Actually did pretty well. Will Mohamed Sanu be a better player as a Patriot? Everyone's a better player as a Patriot, so yeah, probably. Will the Redskins upset the Vikings? No, the Redskins look like potentially the worst team in all of football. I know that the Dolphins are up there, but they just barely beat them a little bit below. Who's worse, though, the Dolphins or the Bengals? Well, I just said that they're both pretty terrible, but it's got to be the Dolphins. They're at least trying to lose, and they're doing great at it. Who's winning this year's Heisman? It's got to be Jonathan Taylor. You know the Badgers got what it takes. I know everyone's like, it's a quarterback award. It's not. It's the best player award. I'm going Jonathan Taylor. Will the Nuggets make it to the finals this year? I think that they will. I think that they have all of the young kind of talent there, and they can build off of last year's success. Can the Nets make the playoffs without Durant? No, Durant definitely seems like the best part that they have. I did not make it. I was going to try to start the next question, but I knew that I wasn't going to have time in order to do that. I did have some fun, and I truly hope that you had fun as well. And if you love sports, guess what? On Monday, there's a whole sports show. So you can join that on Monday and tune in on all the stuff that I talked about here tonight. So thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you soon.